So this is a heart-wrenching story that comes out of Oklahoma regarding trans rights. It's from NBC, written by a man named Tyler Kincaid. Excuse me. A transgender teen wanted to update his school records. Oklahoma created a rule to stop him. Oklahoma City, sitting on his living room couch, a 16-year-old high school student described all the reasons he's fighting to change his gender identity on official documents. He doesn't want his classmates to know he's trans. He's worried about the disrespectful comments he hears from people who don't realize he's transitioned years ago, the ugly rhetoric on social media that prompts him to put down his phone, and the alarming data and stories about harassment and violence. But mostly J. Doe, as the teen is referred to in a lawsuit his family filed last month against the Oklahoma State Board of Education, just wants to be seen as a boy, not a transgender boy. Last week, a few weeks after the state's education department learned that J. Doe had obtained a court order to update his gender to male on all his official records. That's important. The Board of Education created an emergency rule requiring school districts to get state approval before changing gender markers on students' private files. Then the board decided unanimously, without notifying his family to give them a chance to weigh in, that J. Doe's student record should continue to list him as female. The new rule effectively gives the Oklahoma Department of Education notice every time a student has transitioned to a point where they want their records updated to reflect their gender identity. And it gives the board the opportunity to reject that request, as it did to J. Doe and another student in October. So, I mean, I think I said this in my last video about trans issues, but they're inconveniencing children. Well, they're not just inconveniencing children. That's an understatement. They're attacking children. They're going after children. They're preventing children, and adults too, but I'm talking about the children right now. They're preventing children from living life as they see fit. I mean, they're preventing children from being their own authentic selves. And the reason being because, they're either brainwashed by this sick, anti-trans ideology, or they're just using it to score political points because it's, became a culture war issue so many years ago. And they can be seen as with upholding, traditional values or some garbage. This is insane. This is insane. Again, this high school student, already obtained a court-ordered change regarding their gender marker, which is what you have to do. And it's tedious, but he already went through the proper legal proceedings. And the school districts are being like, no, sorry, can't do it. Because of this new rule we suddenly have. Because we don't think you should have, the gender that you identify with on your school papers. What? After the courts already agreed to have his damn, gender markers changed? What? Oklahoma has been known, I should say, for being one of the worst states regarding trans rights. So the governor, Ryan Walters, has attacked what he calls transgender ideology, and he said, "We're going to stand against this. We're not going to do the transgender game of back and forth." This man has also, by the way, passed laws that limit what teachers can say about gender in class, restrict which restrooms LGBT students can use, bans gender-affirming care for adolescents, and forbids the use of textbooks that include so-called gender ideology. So this is affecting education. Anti-trans activism is affecting what our children are being taught in schools. Think about that. What? School is supposed to prepare you for the real world. You know what exists in the real world? Trans people. Trans people exist. They have existed for a really long time, since humans have existed. And they're not going to go away, because you're trying to indoctrinate kids and try to prevent them from learning about these important real world issues. And understand that, what gender is. They should know. They have the right to know. The whole point of public school education is to, teach students how the world works. And this is directly teaching them the exact opposite of how the world works. It's trying to, create like tiny little, conservatives at, best, or at the least, again, just prevent people from knowing certain things, which will lead to them just being ignorant. And Jay Doe, the plaintiff, is that how you say the word? Well, the student suffering, I think the article goes on to say he hasn't been to school for 10 weeks. Like I said, he was transitioning, on the down low. And, this emergency law has increased his depression. It's caused him to worry about his classmates finding out that he's trans, causing, and if that happens, he's been worried that could cause disrespect, ostracism, harassment, all things that, trans students have to worry about. It's not easy being trans. It's really not. And the government is not doing anything to make it any easier. In fact, the government is making the lives of trans people 10 times worse. The lives of children also. So I wish these people well in their lawsuit. I hope it goes in their favor. Spread the word. This needs to be stopped. This is unacceptable. This is backwards. I don't even think the average American, hates trans people. I mean, Jay Doe's parents, like his mother, I think, is a liberal, and I think his father voted for Donald Trump, but both of them accepted their child without question. And we need to get to a point in society where we say enough is enough. Trans people are people, and they have the exact same rights as anybody